Hello, welcome back. Now let's discuss task 3 of PT listening, which is one of the most important tasks in the listening section, which is called listening fill in the blanks. The number of questions which you'll get in this task is generally 2 or 3. In each question, you will see a passage on your screen with a few missing words. And you'll be also listening to the corresponding audio for that passage. Before the audio starts, you will get 7 seconds, and I will tell you what you should do in those 7 seconds shortly. When you hear those words which are being played, you just need to type the answers for the missing words or blanks in the boxes which you see on your screen. You need to click in the corresponding box with your mouse to go to the next blank. Sometimes if you click the tab button, tab button on your keyboard, you might go to the next blank, but generally you don't. So it's very risky. Don't try it in the exam. Just use your mouse. As I mentioned, you'll get 2 to 3 questions, and potentially you are doing 2 things in this task. You are listening to the audio and simultaneously you will be typing. So basically you'll be writing, which means, as you expected, this task is integrated. You get marks for listening and writing both. And please mark my words, this is one of the most important tasks for the writing score. As per the score guide issued by PTE, the scoring in this task is as follows. For every correct answer which you type, you get plus 1 point in listening and writing both. For every wrong answer, you get 0. A wrong answer means the spelling doesn't match. That's wrong. So for example, if the audio blank is student and by mistake you write students with an S, that's wrong. Secondly, please note that you do not have to type your answers in all capitals. No. It should be in all small letters, but if it is the first word of a new sentence after a full stop, or if it's a proper noun means a name of a place, person or thing, then yes, the first letter will be capitalized. As far as the spelling convention is concerned, as per PT guidelines, in any one task, you need to stick to one spelling type, either British spelling or American spelling. You cannot mix both. By mistake, even if you do, it's okay, but ideally you should not. And by mistake, if you do, it's okay because there is no penalty on the actual writing score. For example, let's say in the same audio, you get 2 words. One word is globalization and the other word is liberalization. So let's say globalization you write with a Z, that's American English. Liberalization if you write with an S, that is British English. So ideally, you are mixing both forms of spelling systems, which you should not. But by mistake, if you do, it's okay. You can use any one. Both are accepted as per the PT guideline. Now, before I go take a deep dive into the scoring parameters in a bit in detail, let me explain what actually happens to the score if you make a mistake and what would happen also if you miss any blank, which means you leave it unattempted. PT says that for every correct answer or spelling you get plus 1 point, and for a wrong answer you get 0. But actually the reality is a bit different. Because this is a very high stakes task, if the spelling is wrong or if the answer is wrong for whatever reason, generally there is going to be a penalty on your scores, and the penalty can be very harsh. In my experience, for every wrong answer, you might lose 4 to 6 points, sometimes only in listening, sometimes only in writing, or sometimes in both. And you heard me right, for each mistake. But the maximum penalty for each question or each passage is capped. Means, let's say if you make 3 mistakes, it's not that you're going to lose 14 to 16 or 12 points. No, not like that. But generally per wrong entry or answer, 4 to 6 points is a realistic estimate of the penalty. So if you're not sure, should you still attempt it or should you leave it blank? I'm sure you would be thinking that by now. So let me tell you one more secret. Even if you leave the question or that particular blank unattempted, still there will be a penalty. How many points? I think 2 to 4 points at least. So is it a better option to leave it blank or try your luck? Well, that depends. Why? Let me explain very rationally. And you might also think that from where is Malcolm telling all this, It's not mentioned in the score guide, all this which he's saying. So obviously I'm sharing this, sort of secret scoring from my experience. And my experience is roughly with more than 40,000 students in roughly 8 years. Not only for PT, but for many other tests of English also. And I've taken it myself as well. I've got 90 each. So from that experience, I'm sharing you how the software generally works. Now, if you're not sure, 50-50, should you attempt it or should you leave it blank? That is the main question. Now, first, before I give you my suggestion or my opinion, let me tell you some facts which have happened with previous students. I've had students in the past who have left 1 or 2 blanks unattempted because they were unsure, and still they have got a perfect 90 in writing or listening or in both. Very rarely, but it has happened. Now you might think, how can this be possible? I have left 2 blanks and still I'm getting like 8 or 9, band 9 or 90. It is possible if all other questions which contribute to writing or listening or both, like integrated tasks, are 100% or close to 100% accurate. Then yes, the software might neglect your unattempted blanks and still can give you a high score. Now, let's say that your other tasks which contribute to listening or writing or both have not gone that well. And then if you're leaving blanks, then obviously it's going to affect your scores. So if your target score is like 65 each or 79 each, which is a bit high generally, my suggestion is try your luck. Even if it's wrong, you're going to lose marks. Even if you leave it blank, you're going to lose marks, which means either ways you're going to lose points. So try your luck. Now, what should you do in those 10 seconds before the audio starts? There are a couple of things which you can do. First, quickly count the number of blanks in the passage. And sometimes even the last word of the passage could be a blank, and you might not be able to see it because the blank box outline is not that visible in the background white color of the screen. So look clearly, okay? Number 1. Number 2, always see the word before the blank, because that can help you in regards to grammar. For example, many students were sitting on the bench, or a student was sitting on the bench. So let's say you get one of these 2 sentences and the word student or students is a blank. Now in the first example, the word after students were, because it's plural, so were. And in the second example, a student was sitting. In both forms, it is the ing form of the verb sit because it's in the continuous form. Secondly, the second observation should be, in the second example, it was a dash was. So obviously a means one singular. Another rule is, whenever there's a plural noun, the verb which follows will be without s and vice versa. For example, a student sits on the desk. Many students sit on the desk. So student sits, students sit. Opposite, right? Ending with s, ending without s. Another thing, should you type directly while the audio is playing on your screen? Or should you take notes? Because you can take notes and then you can transfer those words, like type those words. So what should you do? Now that depends on a couple of things. First, your concentration. Second, your typing speed. Third, obviously in both cases, the time which you will need will be different. if you're going to take notes first, remember there's an overall timer which is going on. So first you need some time to note those words on your sheet, and then you need to transfer those by typing them. In the second example, the audio sometimes can be really fast. So if in case you're going to type directly, you need to be very careful if there are two blanks very close by. You don't want to miss out on words just because you're typing and you're looking at your keyboard. Your eyes should be on your screen. So your hand-eye coordination should be really solid. You need to be really quick because you'll have to click in each box with your mouse. The tab button would not take you generally to the next blank. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I would suggest don't take a risk, just familiarize yourself in using the mouse quickly to click in each box. Now, many times I've seen that because this task is based a bit on luck, even people who are good at English might make mistakes due to sometimes overconfidence or due to lack of practice. I'll give a very simple example. Let's say the word is occurring. So, occurring has double C, double R. Many people write just one R. Now, if you write one R, that's a spelling mistake. As I said, that mistake can prove to be very costly. You might lose generally 4 to 6 points, sometimes in listening or writing or both. Nobody knows exactly how many. That's a secret, top secret, right? Also, you might get numbers played in the audio. For example, there is a real test question which has two numbers which come as blanks. One is the number 5 and second is the number 26. So my suggestion is, if you get numbers, type in words. For example, FIVE. Even if you type the number 5, it's okay, but just a suggestion, type in words. Similarly, if you get the number 26, if you get any number between 1 to 99, you must put a hyphen. A hyphen means a dash. You don't need to leave a space. So you write TWENTY hyphen SIX without any space. Sometimes you can also get really big numbers like 500,000, and you might not be able to type all these letters like 500,000 because there's a character limit as well. If you can't fit, then you just need to write the digit like 500,000, 500,000 together, like 500,000. So you need to be a bit smart. You need to use or have presence of mind, and the most important thing is you need to be very attentive because the audio can come and go very quickly. There could be some inherent disturbance or background noise, some light music playing in the background. Anything could be happening, right? So you need to be really alert and attentive. Generally, for every question, in every question, you'll get about 3 to 5 or sometimes even 6 blanks. So let's imagine you get minimum 2 and maximum 3 questions, and in each question on an average you get 4 to 5 blanks or words. That's around 14 to 15 points. So potentially you're looking at scoring anywhere between 10 to 12 or 14 points towards listening and also towards writing scores. That's a lot of points. And at the same time, if you make mistakes or if you don't attempt those blanks, you're going to lose a lot of points, both ways. That's what makes this task really important, and that's task number 3, listening fill in the blanks for you. It requires a lot of practice. If you ask me what I do in the real exam, before the audio starts, I just see the total number of blanks in the passage and which word is before the blank. And while the audio is playing, because obviously I have so much experience with this particular test, I try to visualize what the next word is going to be using my knowledge of grammar and collocation. For example, let's say there's a sentence which says, academic dash done in the 19th century does not validate the research done in the 20th century. Now, with the word academic, a collocation would be a word which fits together. So I might think of the word academic, research done in the 19th century does not validate the research done in the 20th century. Also, sometimes the word in the answer is also there somewhere in the passage. So if the audio is really unclear, but if you see a repetitive word in the passage which sounds similar to the word in the blank, it could be your answer. So these are some small tips and tricks which I would like you to employ when you practice. Last but not the least, we have a list of words which are really important and repetitive, which is there on our portal, which I want you to practice. Also, in our prediction file, which we release every month or as a PDF document, and generally every month or week, also on our YouTube channel, that also has a list of words. Whenever you're learning or memorizing spelling, don't read. Always type. Don't even write them. Please type those, because typing memory is different, reading memory is different. When you type those words, you'll remember the spelling better. You know, like should a word have double R, double M, etc. Keep these tips in mind. Practicing is the only solution to this task. There is no shortcut. There is no other strategy, because it's all about listening and knowing the right spelling also. I have explained everything to the best of my knowledge. So now let's start practicing. Good luck, and let's move on to the next task. Thank you.